We are going to enjoy an amazing presentation from Lorianne. And imposter syndrome is so important. Mindset is so important. So I can't wait to hear from her. And guys, I joke about, I don't know how many of you have joined our fun little Thursday intro celebration calls that we've been doing, but please attend those. The energy is great, and invite people. It is for not recruiting, exposing people to the Young Living lifestyle. And so guys, if you want to be on those calls, that is fantastic. And I'm seeing the chat get blown up. So I was joking how we need to have an entire slide just on Lorianne because she's so impressive. I am going to read a little bit of her background before I launch off to her.
You're giving too many high, lower the bar.
I know, I still don't think I can do it justice. So I'm going to read a little bit about this beautiful woman. And I just love her dearly. And we've been getting to know each other for the last year, and she's very dear to my heart. So LDC Strategies, Life and Business Transformational Success Coach and Strategist. So Lorianne, amongst many, many other things, is a #1 international best-selling author. She's an award-winning public speaker, an empire builder, a visionary, a businesswoman, and a recognized expert. Diverse and dynamic, Lorianne empowers, educates, and ignites people to take action and monetize their message. I'm listening, girl. Activating behavioral changes, she shows us exactly how to define who we are in order to reach our personal and professional goals. From disrupting limiting beliefs, what we're talking about today, to cultivating confidence, to mastering communication skills, to architecting actionable plans. Lorianne works with people to go from confused to clarity in their lives while perfecting their message. Okay, I need a big old dose of Lorianne in my life, which I'm just about to get. So like I said, guys, grab your water, grab your oils, and I'm going to turn it over to this beautiful woman. Thank you for being here today, sweetheart.
Oh, thank
Snaps
you
for Lorianne.
Thank you. Thank you guys all for being here. It's good to see you, and little happiness. Thanks, Ellie. You're amazing yourself. And Ellie did, if you didn't catch it last week, check down in the Facebook group, watch it. She gave us so much information about nutrition and so much more to come. And on the call as well is our great leader, Kathy Farmer. Again, another resource for all of us if we have any questions about the products. I always say about the products, I think, Ellie, you and I spoke about this on Thursday, is that I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. I'm not a scientist. I'm just me. And as I use the products, that's what I can share with you. But if you want science, if you want backup, if you want medical information or anything like that, you need to really go to Kathy to get the information, and we have all kinds of resources available to us. So that's the great thing about that. But today I'm really excited to be here to do this. I would like to ask your permission if we can set some sacred space here. So with your permission, I'm going to ask you all to come down a road with me. So let me just share my screen because I don't want to be the vision. And this way you can have a little bit of your own privacy. And I'm going to ask you all to just put your feet flat on the floor wherever you are. Sit up really straight. If you're laying down, that's fine too. We want to connect our root chakra to the earth, and we can do that by grounding our feet on the floor if we're sitting in a chair. And I want to just start a sacred space. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And imagine we're live, standing in our circle, feeling our energy come together as we create our virtual training room. And I invite you to take a few deep cleansing breaths. And when we do that, we want to cleanse through our nose. Inhale through our nose, hold it, and then exhale out through our mouths. And I want you to do that a few times. And with each breath, you can feel yourself becoming more relaxed and more centered. And now beginning to see our virtual training room as the inside of a large and beautiful temple. Along the walls of this temple are large columns of radiant white light. supporting and holding space. The columns of white light are pillars supporting the temple structure. There are large beams across the top of the columns. Now you can see sacred words in gold letters emerging on the columns. Notice what they are. Now speak the words into the circle. And now visualize the whole room filling with a beautiful golden light, filling the entire room from floor to ceiling, cleansing and purifying the room and filling it with the healing energy. Above the room, there's a pyramid of lavender, violet light, and within this lavender pyramid is a violet flame. This is the violet consuming flame, which clears and purifies. Above that is a cobalt blue pyramid of protection, the blue light of protection and safety. The cobalt blue pyramid of protection is an energy field that repels negative energies, only allowing love into the space. Now I want you to visualize all the participants in our training inside this blue pyramid of protection so that they experience safety, love, and protection as they transform. Above us at the apex of the pyramid is a brilliantly shining, radiant white star. The I Am Presence. This brilliant and radiant white star pours a radiant white light into our space, clearing old thoughts, old beliefs, and any obstacles that would interfere with our transformation. And now we call in the great archangels of light, the architects of our world, the keepers of order, harmony, love, and spiritual strength. We place each archangel at one of the corners of this room. Archangel Michael, the archangel of protection and safety. Archangel Uriel, the archangel of clarity and vision. Archangel Raphael, the healer and comforter. Archangel Gabriel, the messenger of hope and faith. And above us, at the top of the cobalt blue pyramid of light, the Archangel Ascended Master Metatron, the powerful overseer of our world. Next, we place on each of the four corners the golden urns of forgiveness. These urns are the sacred containers that dispose of any limiting, negative energy, effortlessly whisking away any obstacles, limitations, hindrances, trauma, and pain that may be released to be transmuted for the highest good. And now inside, imagine all the participants present in our sacred temple that expands across the globe. Experience how each of them feels, ready to take their next steps, whatever that may be. And now anchor this sacred light, the divine beings of light, our sacred space, our temple, and our sacred intention into the earth, creating a foundation to support every person, every soul on their journey of awakening during this training. And now let's say it together. Say it out loud. It is done now, so be it. It is done now, so be it. Good. And with great gratitude, we thank you. Thank you, I Am Presence and divine beings, for your love, care, and protection, and for holding our sacred space. And now I'll ask you to slightly open your eyes, just a peek enough to focus on something in the room where you are. And now close them again and come back into the temple, noticing how easily you can revisit the temple even after this interruption. And I'm going to ask you to remember to do this throughout the day in order to keep creating and holding the sacred space for yourself and the participants. Now become aware of your breathing, the rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and out. Become aware of feeling your whole body standing here on the floor or sitting in your chair. And whenever you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and come back into the room, remembering how easily you can revisit the temple whenever you want. How was that?
That was the most amazing thing. Beautiful.
Lovely, lovely. Beautiful.
That was ethereal. I went somewhere a couple times.
Beautiful. And I love that we can go back into that temple anytime we want. Similar to our garden. I visit my garden a lot. There's a lot of composting going on, Kathy. So I'd like you very much to just, if you'd like to do this yourself, just let me know. Drop it in the chat and we'll get this to you. This is a meditation and a sacred space room holder that I do, and I've learned from Jack Canfield, one of our leaders. So I wanted to share that with you because I love the way that it feels and makes me feel. So thank you for allowing me to do that with us today. So now we're here for imposter syndrome, right? So we've created a sacred space and we're ready to get vulnerable with each other. And what I'd like you to do now is drop in the chat if you have ever heard of imposter syndrome.
Honey, people are dropping their email addresses in the chat. Is that what you'd like?
Yeah, that's fine. We can do that as long as we save the chat. That's absolutely fine. You could just put a yes, and I think we have a lot of your emails if you get your text messages.
Yeah, just to opt into that.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah, just drop it in the chat and we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. It's something, it really is great when you have a group of people, and it's really great for yourself. So, so in the chat, if you have, if you've heard about the term imposter syndrome, in the meantime, you could also raise your hand because we have a lot of people dropping emails.
Karen claims to be the queen of imposter syndrome, so we're going to get that languaging out of her life.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Used to be the queen of imposter syndrome.
It's a mindset, Holly. Yes. And how many of you have had or have imposter syndrome right now? Right? Yeah. We've all had it at one time or another. It's just something that we go through. So I have good news too. Ellie, would you mind dropping the PDF in? We have a PDF that will allow you to, in the chat, Ellie, sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. It's a typical Super Bowl effort of me. I do half sentences.
No worries.
If you drop it in the chat, if you all would grab the PDF, you can, you could just follow along with it. You could write on a separate piece of paper, whatever you'd like. This is something that you could take and do over and over again when you're trying to check in with where you are. But we all get imposter syndrome. It's actually a protective mechanism that we have. And just bear with me as I do this.
Okay.
Lorianne, before you get into it, a couple people in the chat mentioned they're not terribly clear on what imposter syndrome is. Could you just explain it quickly, please?
Yeah, so imposter syndrome is when you're wondering, why would they listen to me? Why would they come to me? I don't know enough. Everybody else is better at this. So many other things. Ellie, other explanations of it?
Well, one thing the way I perceive it is thinking that your success is coincidental and not a consequence of yourself. Yeah. And I think a good example of someone who talks about this, which is fascinating to me, I've heard Jack Canfield mention it, but also Carla Silver. And Carla has been in direct sales for almost 20 years, and she coaches like 7-figure people. And she still is challenged with, how am I this good? I'm not this good. I'm just lucky kind of thing. So it's not fully owning your power and thinking that your success is coincidental.
Right, absolutely. And actually, I got this presentation. I learned about this with Carla, and yeah, I experience it every time you go to level up. You're going to experience again every time you're going to go bigger. It's actually a protection mechanism that we have, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It also is. It's an excuse, right? We're going to make all kinds of reasons why we shouldn't be successful, and it's sometimes when we're fearful of being successful. So it just comes into our lives, and we hear this voice in our head, and we'll talk a little bit about it. This is something that everybody will receive and continue to battle, if you will, but with tools like this, you'll really be able to identify. It's like anything else. If you're aware of it, then you can choose to take other steps, right? So I want you to meet an imposter. She's a 52-year-old, a mother of 2. Her name is Molly, a grandparent to 4, a wife, a passionate business owner. And Molly began her business as a way to have some cash on hand. But it turns out she had a bigger vision inside of her. And I can certainly relate to that. I'm sure you all can. As her business grew, she realized the impact she could make in her own life, how she viewed herself in her marriage, with her kids, in her communities, in her kids. She realized there's much more inside of her to give. So Molly put in her head and put her head down and got to work. She followed the advice of her mentors and her coaches. Her business grew, but so did the pressure. She realized that success she had been dreaming of came with the weight she wasn't sure how to carry. She wants what the next level dream she can envision and impact and the impactfulness that it would make. But when it comes time to implement those next levels of strategies, she finds out she doesn't have time. She questions herself. She wonders if that next level is all it's cracked up to be. So as she struggles to balance all the aspects of her business, her children, her marriage, her life, Molly wonders if she ever really had what it takes to begin with, like what we were just talking about. She begins to think of her situation as not ready, not enough. There's not enough time or resources. And she begins to think that growth is impossible for her. Well, the truth is Molly isn't lazy. She isn't unqualified. She's not destined to fail. Molly has come face to face with her imposter. And while it takes on different voices for each of us, we all have one living inside our minds. But the good news is we can defeat this imposter. So let's dissect this a little more, okay? So we're going to defeat this imposter. So ladies and gentlemen, let's meet your ego. You know, there's a purpose for our ego, and the core objective is to protect our identity at all times, at whatever cost. And that's, you know, Dr. Nicole LaPera. That's a quote from Dr. Nicole. And our beliefs are shapes. Now, what is a belief? Anybody know what a belief is? A belief are thoughts we think over and over again. That's a belief. So if they're thoughts we think over and over again, we can change those thoughts. Therefore, we can change our beliefs. So this is something that our ego gets involved. And when we know we're in our ego is when we have any kind of emotion. If we're upset, if we're happy, if we are in our ego, if we're scared, we're in our ego. And we need to try to shift into our observer as if we were looking into someone else's lives. Drop in the chat if it's so much easier to look in someone else's life and go, well, I don't know what you're struggling with. You should do X. Drop in the chat if you've ever thought about that. Drop a yes in the chat. Yes, because it's easier to see what everybody else is doing than be able to observe what we're doing because we're in the middle of it. So if we can learn to shift out of our ego and into our observer, then we can really look at ourselves holistically. And that takes practice. It really does take practice. And it's really, you know, these beliefs are responsible for what psychologists call automatic thoughts. whenever anything is upsetting or whenever anything is activating or triggering, situations occur, we have these automatic responses, and we have to learn how to change those automatic responses. And part of that is becoming aware that that's what we're doing, that we're becoming automatic with those responses. And why are we responding that way? What is it that's triggering us to respond that way? And ask ourselves that thought, right? So for a second, I want to talk about a little child. So imagine a small child's reaction to fireworks. I'm sure you've all seen fireworks, seen children really repel from them, right? From an adult's perspective, some adults don't react really well to fireworks either. But from an adult's perspective, they're wonderful and they're fun, and the experience is great, and they love the music, and it's full of color, wonder, and sound. I adore fireworks, but I got to tell you, when I was a little girl, it used to scare the bejeebus out of me. But then as I got older, the display of wonder didn't represent an overwhelming danger anymore. That sound wasn't a relentless explosion echoing around me. And children would cry or viciously react as their instinct desire for safety takes over. I'm sure you can relate to that, right? However, as the child gets older, we collect different insights. As we get older, we collect different insights and experiences, and eventually we return to the same display of fireworks, full of wonder and joy, appreciating the shapes, colors, sounds, deep rumbling in their bodies as the finale explodes around us, and we're just oohing and ahhing, right? We're cooing to it. It's because at that point, we have built up enough life experience to know that we're safe, that it's okay. So something that was fearful in the past, we have developed a different thought pattern, a different belief, and it allowed us to be safe. Does that resonate with everyone? Yes?
Absolutely.
Yes. So new research shows that the brain is more like a muscle. It changes and gets stronger as you use it. And I love, love, love that quote, because the truth is that you do change. You can change these muscles. You can change it. So let's talk about thoughts and behavior. And I love this quote, is that we gain strength, courage, and confidence every time we stop and we choose to look fear in the face, and therefore we must do the thing we think we cannot do. So I love it. Quick story. When I turned 50, I decided, don't know why, I was going to get a motorcycle. And I had never been on a motorcycle before. I actually do know why, but that's too long of a story. And anyway, I decided that I was going to go on this trip to Laconia with a bunch of people who I knew, who actually got me to get the motorcycle, got me in love with it. And that morning we were supposed to leave. We were meeting at 5 o'clock down at the 7-Eleven, and we were supposed to leave. I was going to leave at 4:30. Now, it only took me 5 minutes to get there, but I wanted to make sure I was on time, make sure I had plenty of time. And my motorcycle, when you start it up, it makes a huge rumbling noise, and that's for protection purposes. I never realized that until I owned one, that we wanted to be as loud as possible, just in case they don't see us, they can hear us coming. So anyway, out of respect for my neighbors, I walked the bike down to the end of my driveway, and I got on the bike. Now, the week before, I had spent every day finding all kinds of reasons to talk myself out of not taking this jump, not taking the leap, not going on this trip. And to every question that I posed myself, it's like, what happens if I drop the bike? Well, I'll take the bike, I'll throw it in a truck, drive it back to the house, and I'll come back. And what if something happens? What if I can't move? What if I get paralyzed? What if I decide I don't want to do this anymore in the middle of the trip? I'll rent a truck, put the bike in the truck, and bring it back to the house, and probably not ride again. So I kept talking myself out of it. So here I am that morning, 4:30 in the morning, sitting on my bike, helmet on, at the end of my driveway, looking to the right, looking to the left. It's 4:30 in the morning. There's not a car to be seen. And it seemed like I sat there for a minute or two, looking to the right, looking to the left. And finally I was like, what are you doing? Just go. So I did it. I got my courage up. I turned on my motorcycle. I started up. I went across the road, over the curb, through the brush, over the curb, back on the road. And I was like, okay, still standing, I'm good. And I took off and I went on this ride of my life. I even conquered getting on a ferry, which is very difficult because the ferry's moving. You're going from the ground to the ferry. I'm moving. It was very challenging to get on, but I did it. And I was so proud. And each step that I took, I was so proud of myself. On the way back, because I faced my fear, the elation, I can't even put it into words, was magnificent. I felt like I conquered the world. I felt like I mastered the universe, and it was just me learning how to ride a motorcycle, right? So it's those kind of things that facing your fear, you're going to be able to feel that elation, and you're going to want to do it again. So thoughts and behaviors are what we're going to dive into. So knowing all of this, let's dive in and see what imposter sounds like to you. All right. So our goal with this next section that we're going to get into is to start building awareness of what thoughts in our heads sound like. So early on, before your imposter, your ego has an opportunity to sabotage you, right? So we're also going to look at what behaviors these thoughts lead to and how to reroute them. So we're going to really reframe our own stories. And first, we're going to just take a look at these automatic thoughts. So everybody in? Okay. So
We're in.
excellent. Personal assessment. So what I'm going to say is that, and it's in your, you can follow along in the PDF, is that with 1 is meaning it's low intensity, and 10 meaning it's out of control rate. So, and how often you react with these types of thoughts when you meet a challenge or obstacle in your business or personal, right? So the first question we're going to ask is, assuming worst case scenario thinking, right? We're going to, do you assume? This is worst case scenario thinking. Is it a 1? Is it a 5? Is it a 10? Is it someplace in between there? So what I'd like you to do, and thank you, Dr. Trish. I love that about my motorcycles and the bravery. So what does this sound like to you? Assuming, do you assume? And what does that look like? So I want you to just jot something down, and you can you can revisit this later when you really have time to focus. But I want you to think about that. When you assume, when you think worst case scenario thinking, what do you do? That used to be my out of the box. I'd go worst case scenario. And that's because I'm preparing. Sometimes it created my own blocks and obstacles. And stop me if you have questions. And if you're reading the chat, I can't always see all of them. So I apologize if I missed something. Number 2 is shoulds.
We got you.
Thank you. False standards, fairy tale fantasy. You know, I should be having a podcast or radio show. I should have a book. I should have this. I should have that. And you just started. So does this sound, you know, what does this sound like to you? What does it look like to you? Write down your shoulds that you give yourself. To which I always say, keep your eyes on your own page. We're all exactly where we're supposed to be in our process. The third one is all or nothing thinking. Oh my gosh, yes. This is never going to work. Ever say that? All or nothing thinking. This sounds like what to you and looks like what to you? And if I didn't say it, and apologize for not saying it, you might want to put a little abundance on or gratitude as you do this to just elevate your vibration so you could really focus in.
Clarity seems like it'd be a good one too, if you're kind of
Clarity is
thinking.
a great one. Excellent suggestion. Whatever comes to mind is the best one for you if you have it. Overgeneralizing the stories we tell ourselves. 1 to 10, where do you sit on that? Labeling, the not enough story, giving ourselves labels. What does that look like and sound like to you? Dwelling on the negative. Who would start with me? Why would they come to me? Dwelling on the negative. Rejecting the positive. Oh my gosh, I used to do this all the time. Rejecting the positive. What does this sound like and look like for you? Oh, Kathleen Seals wrote, she wrote an article on all or nothing. It's on LinkedIn. The truth is something is better than nothing. I love that. Something is better than nothing. Agreed. The only risk is staying where you are. Agreed. Sage information, Kathleen.
She's
Comparing.
a genius. She always
Yeah.
has the best contributions. She really is. Thank you for being here, Kathleen.
Absolutely. Sorry about the pup, guys. Just adds with the cats and the pups. We got everything going on here. Comparing, so quality, no results yet. Comparing yourself to other people, keeping your eyes on your own page. Does this sound like or look like for you?
Comparison is the thief of joy. I'm putting that in the chat.
Yes. Catastrophe. So we can be anastrophic or catastrophic, right? Where do you sit on that catastrophic? What does that look and sound like? Those are really very dynamic words. Never, can't, won't. Personalizing. Getting yourself over involved in negative scenario. This is something I always look at as, I feel like when I find myself doing this, I'm talking myself out of what I want to do. And then what I have to focus on is changing that and looking at why am I talking myself out of what I want to do. Blaming, no accountability, right? Oh, my technology failed. It's the government. It's my teacher. It's my relatives. It's all that. Fill that in. It's blaming other people and not taking accountability. Little pet peeve of mine. What does this sound and look like to you? Making feelings facts. And this is the last one. Making feelings fact. Because you're feeling vulnerable, because you're taking a step out of your comfort zone, those feelings that are overwhelming you while you have imposter syndrome, making those feelings into facts when they really aren't. I'm going to stop share for a second, and I would love it if anyone would like to drop in the chat some of the things that came up while you were going through the 12. And Ellie, if you wouldn't mind helping me out with that.
Absolutely. I'm watching and I'm putting my own in. I have a should. I've been doing the Young Living business for a while. I'm like, I should rank higher than I am. And you know, you would understand that. It's been a heck of a year, but I still beat myself up over that.
Yeah, and with the Ellie, to that point, where does that get you? Doesn't help us, right? So the energy, let's think about where we're putting that energy. Instead of beating ourselves up, the next thing is to do what? Take action. All right, if that's what I should, if that's what I want, the should is really a want, isn't it? That's really what I want. What do I need to do to make it actionable? What do I need to do to make it happen, right? Yeah, Dr. Trish says I should have or someone in that
Oh,
group.
sorry, that's me. Yeah, sorry.
Should have ranked faster. Oh, okay.
Am I showing up at Jack? Probably.
Yeah, the shoulds and the labeling. Yeah, that's Laura English. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as you ask yourself these questions, when you're feeling that, ask yourself these questions, because when you really think of it and because you're asking yourself questions, you're out of your ego, because now you're in your brain, right? You're out of your ego, you're asking the questions, and it's giving you a little clarity of, oh, wait a minute, I'm just talking myself out of this right now. Quick story is when I found the Super Bowl syndrome, I was down in my laundry room. I have an office upstairs in my house, and I was down in my laundry room folding laundry during the middle of the week, which is my work week, right? I can't tell you, there's probably nothing that I dislike more than folding laundry. Why was I folding laundry in the middle of a work week, in the middle of the day? Well, I started to analyze that as I'm like, why am I doing this? And when I looked at it, it was an excuse. But it was a justified excuse because I was folding my family's laundry. So I was doing something important, right? So I was filling up that time doing something important. But now I know that I was avoiding something. And what was I avoiding to do? And I figured it out. I was avoiding having a conversation, a very difficult conversation with someone with which I had to have before I was able to take the next step. And I went, just go up to I literally was having this inner dialogue, go up to your office and make that phone call and stop it right now. And I did. I got up the courage. I actually put on some oil. I put on Chivalry. Thank you, Dr. Deb. I put on some Chivalry. I picked up the phone, had the conversation, and guess what? I was going catastrophic. It was fine. They said yes. They didn't say no. I was avoiding the no. I was so afraid to get the no that I was like folding laundry. So I'm sure every one of us could think of one of those times when we were doing something else going, all right, I'm just really avoiding this and I don't know how to handle it. I don't know where to start. That's another thing that we do, right? And that's part of it. That's all part of that. Eat that frog. That's right, Fran. I love Eat That Frog. That's awesome. If you don't know that book, Eat That Frog is awesome. It really takes the success principles and shakes it down into biteable, take the step, but it all comes back to what? Taking action. And that's a real important thing. What did June say? Sounds like don't have enough social proof, have enough for clients to sign up with me. June, pop that on and explain that more to us.
You mean come off mute?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. For coaching, for virtual coaching, for numbers 6, dwelling on the negative, believing that I don't have enough in this virtual world of coaching. Everyone's all in social media and have fancy, well, I don't want to call it fancy because I'm going to fancy.
Nothing wrong with fancy, girl.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with fancy. And I don't have enough social proof. I'm not visible, not talking enough, and don't have a list of what they call those testimonials from all of my one-on-one clients in the past. So who would choose me as their coach to lead them to their results?
Yeah, so that's a really viable. We all start there. Everybody has to start someplace, right? But one thing I can guarantee you, June, and I don't know a lot about you, but one thing I can guarantee you is you know more than the people that you're coaching about how to take them from where they are to where they want to be, and that you have the experience because we all serve our former selves. So the people who are gravitating to you, that are vibrating towards you, are the very people is what you used to be. And now you're going to take them down the road of where you are now, just like we all do. And so, yes, eventually we all go fancy, and eventually we all have the podcast, and eventually we all have the book if we want, or eventually we do our retreats, but it's eventually. So that's why I say we're perfectly in alignment where we're supposed to be right now. And we have the tools we need to be where we are right now. And as we need them, Universe, God, Source supplies us the tools that we need. So good is good enough. I want everybody to write that down on your paper. Good is good enough. We don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be fancy schmancy. It's great when you can get it there, but good is good enough because we're still serving the people we're meant to serve. So this process of going through these questions help you look at that and go, that's hogwash. I'm starting here and I can definitely serve. I'm sure that the clients that you currently serve, June, are so over the moon happy and content with what you're doing. So there's your testimonials. Our testimonials is our personal proof when we're having imposter syndrome. Go back to your testimonials, Think about those clients that had big smiles on their faces, who had those aha moments, who decided to buy the oils, whatever business that you're doing, whoever was working with you, think about those people, because we take that for granted and we need to celebrate that more. So there's an oil in Young Living called Celebration, and I really encourage all of you to get that. And I want you every Friday to celebrate you. Use a little of the oil, celebrate you, so that we remind ourselves and not take those things for granted. You know, we're told, especially as women, be humble, you know, don't brag. And yeah, that's, you know, we don't want to, we are being humble. But if we don't tell people about what we're doing, we can't help and serve. So I'd like you to tuck that behind you. I'd also like you to take that the next step, which is I want you to name your inner critic. The name of my inner critic is Lara. Lara is annoying. So when Lara comes in, I tell Lara, you need to go take a nap. You're in a timeout. I go put her in a waiting room. I tell her not now. Because she has a name, it becomes very, very easy for me to ask them to just not now. So I would ask you to write down a name for your inner critic. And if you wouldn't mind sharing your name, Johnny is great. Drop it in the chat if you've named your inner critic. It's really important to do that, because when this imposter shows up, you can tell the imposter not now.
Wow. Thank you, Coach Lori. I am going to integrate what you just shared with me. I am going to go into the Facebook group and listen to this segment again and really integrate that.
Beautiful.
Of course, you're absolutely correct. And the celebrating is one of the things that I have haven't made a habit.
Yeah.
Because I know what that does. It builds you up on the inside, and
Yes.
it squashes the
Absolutely. So I want everybody to pick up their cell phones if they're in the air in your area, and I want you to schedule and block out on your schedule on Friday mornings a celebration 15 minutes. It's 15 minutes, but I want you to have a celebration, and you can celebrate any way you want. You can call a bestie, you can call a loved one, whoever you want. You can write a journal, you can, you know, do a live Facebook, whatever you want, but I want you to block it out and make it a non-negotiable. Every Friday at some time, I want you to end your week with a celebration, looking back on that week. And it could be the littlest, but they don't have to be big things. Sometimes getting up in the morning is a big, huge celebration. That being able to get out of bed is a big, huge celebration. I remember the days when that was the case. You know, so whatever that celebration is for the week, whatever your wins are, I want you to celebrate you and then bring that to other people as well. So not only are we going to name our inner critic, I'm going to ask you now to write down an example of whatever your inner critic's name is, in my case, Lara, how they're speaking to you in your business. I want you to just write something down right now, how they're speaking right now to you in your business. Monster, Poonam. I love the names. They're great. Olga. That's good, Lisa.
That is a good one. That's such a powerful thing. That tiny thing is assigning it a name.
Signing it a name, yeah. And now I want you, and I know you've written some things down, and again, you can go back. That's why I dropped that PDF, is I want you to respond to him, her, them, it, whatever, how you would respond to the same thing to if a friend or a child or a relative or a loved one came to you and said, this is what my imposter is saying to me. I want you to think about how you would respond to them, because we don't talk very nice to ourselves. And that's part of why we have the imposter syndrome. So we would never say to a child, you can't do that, right? Unless, of course, they're like doing something dangerous, and then we try to shy them away, right? But that's not possible. You're not big enough. It's not fancy enough. You can't do that. Nobody's going to go to you. You'd never say that to a loved one, a child, a friend, even in most cases, a stranger. Why are we saying it to ourselves? So I want you to think about it. I want you to think about it. This is when we're in that observer. And now we can reframe our core values. So what's important to you? Integrity, authenticity, right? Loyalty, bravery, compassion, humility, freedom, spirituality, grit. All that is important to you. And then when you take a look at the list of core values that are in that book, which ones ring true for you? And now, what did those look like as core behaviors? Right? So using the sheet to help you start out, you're going to define where your strengths and weaknesses are. In business, we call this SWOT. Yeah, they're now more understandable. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I love that. You saw a sweatshirt recently that simply said, talk to yourself like someone you love. I love that. So true. We think of ourselves well in rare moments. So true. That's why we need to celebrate ourselves. So the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, I want you to write them down. I want you to write down what you're thinking. We use this in business all the time. It's called SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, threats. And we actually look at what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, and our strengths can help our weaknesses, and our weaknesses, believe it or not, can help our strengths. And because I want to be mindful of our time today, we don't have enough time to go through this, but I'd love you to continue through this. Try to start reframing your story to yourself when you start asking yourself those 12 questions of imposter syndrome, and start reframing the story to yourself. Start retraining your thoughts that you're thinking and the narrative you're giving yourself. And it will change your life, I promise you. And you'll see imposter syndrome coming. Give it her name, his name, its name, their name, and tell it to go away. And now we can combat that. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, I would say thank it for how it thought it was serving you, and then invite it, bless it, and invite it to go away.
Go away, go away. But the important thing is while in my terms, Laura is here, I do try to figure out why Laura is visiting me. You know, what is it that's bringing it up? Like I was when I was folding that laundry. Like, why am I folding laundry right now? What am I avoiding? What am I avoiding doing? Why am I not taking that next step? What is it that, do I not even know how to start? Just yesterday, I was stuck. I was stuck in some project I was working on. And I called my coach and I was like, Coach, I'm stuck. I'm not sure where to get. And they're like, well, you're not looking at it in the angle. You're looking at it very emotional. Let's go back into your observer. Boom. As soon as I did that, as soon as I started asking myself, what was I not doing? I figured out what step. I was avoiding it because I didn't know where to start. And once I got clarity on that start, and she helped me get that clarity, boom, I was on fire and haven't stopped since. I was like up till 1 o'clock in the morning working on that project. And I was so excited because it actually, the dots just went and connected in like less than 5 minutes on the phone with her. And by the way, PS, if you are a coach, and you should have a coach, and your coach should have a coach. Because one thing I've learned is a coach without a coach is not coachable. So therefore it may not be your best avenue. So I really highly recommend, if you have people in your life that you go to, who's a coach, a mentor, definitely make sure that they also have a coach, because we all need it. I can't see my own stuff, but I could see yours clearly.
And we have good examples on this call, because Dr. Trish, I mean, she has several coaches, and then Jack, she kind of coaches Jack as well. So if Jack Canfield has a coach, and he's the #1 success coach in the United States, then
There's multiple
that's
coaches.
the test. Yes, yeah, multiple coaches, because he's
I have
smart.
5. I have
Yes.
5 coaches.
Everyone here is one of my coaches.
Yeah, and you have 3. Yeah, see, so everybody, you know, we have coaches, and it helps. Each coach has their, zone of brilliance, and that's what we're talking about. So when we're in our zone of brilliance, imposter syndrome, we don't allow them in the zone of brilliance. The other stuff we can hire people for. we can get people for, or we can call them up. We call our besties. I call Ellie. I'm like, Ellie, I don't know how to do this. I call Joby, I call Trish, I call Lisa. I'm like, help me. And we help each other out on those things that are not in our zone of genius, but we want to stay in our zone of genius here. Does anybody have any questions? Is this helpful? I'm so
You
happy.
got a request to be a coach from, I don't know how to pronounce, Renew asks if you will be her coach.
Absolutely. Anybody's coach anytime. I love it. It is.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, you're
Love it.
wonderful. So if you go through this and reframe those stories, you're going to find that you're going to be in control of imposter syndrome instead of it being in control of you. And that's like anything else. When we're aware of it, then we can make better choices. So I really appreciate the time with you all. I thank you so much for joining me for imposter syndrome. And back to you, Ellie.
Oh, honey, that was incredible. I was like right in the middle of it. I thought you were going to keep going. And I'm like, yeah, this is changing my entire life. So that was
Incredible.
fantastic. And
Incredible.
yes, Kathy, thank you. Kathy is also one of my coaches. And
Yes, mine
she
too.
coaches on the power of our words and our intentions. And the chat is blowing up. So if anyone has does anyone have any questions, straight up questions? We don't have quite as many people here today, so we can probably just unmute yourself if you've got a question, or you can raise your hand real quick. And then if no one has a question, I just wanted everyone to feel free to share their experiences, because I was taking notes like crazy. I was like, I'm supposed to be monitoring the chat, but this is so good. And it was wonderful. And you touched on a lot of psychological principles that really, really closely relate to not only what we do, because most of us are involved in wellness and the oils, but just apply to our everyday lives, that we have control over our lives and our environment more than we tell ourselves that we do, more than we have been programmed to believe. And so the little trick you taught us about naming that person, naming your imposter and addressing that person a certain way and dismissing them, like, that's life-changing. Just that one thing for me, because most people probably wouldn't think I have really bad imposter syndrome. And so anyone's susceptible to it. Like I said,
Confidence is different than imposter syndrome. We can have confidence in the things we're confident about, but the things we're not, we're still going to feel that imposter syndrome. So that's not unusual, Ellie. And the other thing is remember, all our success codes are right here. They're right in, we're born with them. All of our success codes are right here. We have to go inside, and our society doesn't have us going inward. It has us going outward for validation. And that's why the celebration on Friday is so important. That's why celebrating yourself and really recognizing, oh my gosh, I'm a big girl, having that elation that, oh my gosh, I just faced a huge fear. I spent a week trying to talk myself out of going on that motorcycle trip. And I had made a commitment, and I have this thing about making a commitment and following through on it. And I was battling that week as well, as I made that commitment. So I need to go on, but here's all these excuses I could throw in my way. So yeah, that feeling of success, of facing fears head on. And it's not as scary as it looks. Neither is facing our named imposter. Again, we love our imposter because it keeps us safe. But we also need to be the master of our imposter. So yes, blessing it, saying thank you, but it's time for you to go in a timeout is really important. And recognizing why she or he is there. Why are they there?
Yes.
Why are they engaging us right now?
Yeah, I love that. It's almost like, I like to use analogies from when I was in like corporate America. It's almost like an employee. It's like, okay, I appreciate your opinion. Or it's like a board member, right? It's like, okay, but ultimately you're the one that's making that final choice on what to do with it. And as you said, you're always in choice. And one thing, Annie, I'd love for you to, if you can recall how you described, you were talking about your fear of your first motorcycle ride. And when you said that you overcame it, you weren't like, oh yeah, and I wasn't scared anymore. You said something about, it was this blissful, sublime moment. Do you remember how you described that once you overcame the fear, what your emotional reaction was, what your experience was?
Yeah, if I can recall it, I mean, all I recall is this just, I felt like I was a 5-year-old again, the 5-year-old who just got the best gift in the world, that like you get so excited. I literally felt so young, so youthful, so alive, so vibrant, so pleased with myself and so content. There were like so many of these happy, vibrating emotions running through me all at the same time. But it's this just think of something you've achieved so that you just didn't know you could. It's like winning something that's so important to you. I used to get it when I used to win the lead role in a play, right? But this was even bigger and better than that. It was so yummy, it was so tasty that I was feeling this way. And I literally was like beaming, and I felt like I was all puffed up on my motorcycle as I was riding, because I was like, look at me, I could do this. This is so cool. And it just stayed with me. And that feeling stays, that beautiful feeling stays in the background of, yeah, you can. So face it. It makes facing the next fear easier, because the result is a beautiful, that we have to get over that hurdle to see that beautifulness on the other side, to see that sunrise on the other side. So I don't know if I really put it into, I'm not very eloquent with words, but
No, you really are. I was going to say, raise your hand if you want to feel how Lorianne felt. Like all the time, right? Okay, so I'm going to call you guys out to challenge you to maybe do something outside of your comfort zone. Today or this week, something that you've been folding laundry instead of doing, because I'm totally guilty of that same thing.
I'm gonna make the challenge even stronger. I want you to do it now. I want you to think about it right now and make a commitment to yourself right now of what you're going to do today to get towards that feeling, to jump a hurdle, to really take something on that you weren't, where you were just kind of shy of. So June, making it prettier and gorgeous. Just go in, girl. Just jump in. I love it, Ellie. That's beautiful.
Yeah, maybe we go ahead, baby. Hi, Annie. Hey, what part of China are you in, babe? Kat was asking earlier.
Hey, hello. Shenzhen. I'm in Shenzhen. Yeah, this is just across Hong Kong. I wanted to say something. I mean, Ellie was with me when I was doing that kind of thing. So that was okay for you guys who lives in America. I mean, for you riding a car, it's normal. For people in Europe, it's something that we don't need to do because we have absolutely good transport. So Ellie was with me. She was witnessing that. I mean, I was driving and she was like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. And it was exciting. It was nice, but I done once and I'm like, okay, I done. I don't need to do anymore. Here you go, blah, blah. So it's like, I don't have an urge to do second time the fear that I overcome. I'm like, okay, tick the box, done.
But once you overcome it, you don't revisit it anyway. And if I can add one more thing, sorry, Greta. Yeah. If you all go to the last page, the quick tools for transformation is life-changing. These are quick tools that will get you out of imposter syndrome almost immediately. I'm the type of person that, you fill it in. You focus only on the next real thing. Just go through that last page and you're going to see, the 5-minute plan, chunking, things like that. And I explain what it is in it. Is each one of those are tools to allow you to get over imposter syndrome once you've identified it. So I didn't want to be remiss and forget that, because that's a really important element of going through imposter syndrome and this.
Yeah, that is a great that workbook is fantastic. I'm going to drop it in the chat one more time just for convenience here.
I mean, that was absolutely amazing. And it's not that I ring the bell, it's showing to me like how much it's truth of that bell ringing, but the word that it's coming to me, it's sustainable. How we can be sustainable, not only do, done, past, but like how, does that make sense what I ask? Yes.
It is sustainable. And with tools like this, and this is what I'm talking about, is with every challenge we have, we need to find the tools so that we can overcome it. So the imposter syndrome, we can definitely, give her a name, overcome it, utilize these transformation tools, and we can then move on to be the greatness we're intended to be. That's why we're here. So, and we're here to really be impactful to so many people. So, you know, let's not let this hold us back. Let's not let this hold us back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Greta. Does anyone else have any questions or any comments? Because I could go off on this all day. This was so good. And I just wanted to personally thank Lorianne again. She brings so much to this team, guys. Like, I am so impressed by her, and she is such a valuable asset. So really, really take advantage of her. Sorry, sorry for that, Lorianne, but she's an incredible resource. We are so freaking lucky to be part of this group and part of this team. And speaking of incredible resources, do we want, does Kathy have anything she'd like to share, or Dr. Trish? Before
First of all,
we...
credible.
Oh, credible. Did I say it again? Thank you. I'm going to put like a
Multiple
rubber band
times.
on my wrist.
But we have patterns. We have patterns that we buy into that everybody says. Goofy things like a woman's work is never done, or mother's work is never done, and all these patterns that we hear all the time. We have to learn how to watch our words, because each one of those, they have power.
Yes.
And you are totally credible. And all this stuff is awesome. And find some of your favorite words that are not taking away power.
Yes. Okay. And then I've got some links that Lorianne had shared earlier that I'm going to drop in the chat again.
And
can you make?
Go ahead. If you all want to, and we want to be mindful of your time, I'm very, very mindful of time, but if you want, I have another little thing I would love to do with you. It's something I love to do with my clients when we have gatherings, retreats, and it's called I Am, and it's I think it's very powerful. I think you would like it. If you would indulge me, I would love to share this one with you. And I think it's a really good way to leave us off on this call today. Is that good for you, Ellie?
That sounds perfect, honey. And I just saw the one link, so I want to make sure I've dropped everything that you've requested, or I can put it in the comments of the recording on Facebook. Yeah,
that one link is a freebie that you just dropped in. It's a 3 steps to clean up your messes and incompletes, and it's a really good way. You know, once if you can't get out of your box, right? If you're having a hard time starting something, or if you're procrastinating, this is a really good way to organize things. So give it a look. See if
perfect. And your book, do you mind dropping that, or remind me the name of the book?
Oh, it's a
and your details one would be fun too. That one's
my
cute.
Details ones. Yeah, if you go to Amazon and you put my name Lorianne in, you'll be able to get to my book. It's called Women Who Dream. I'm on the cover, so there's a number of authors in there. So please look for the one with my name. Or you can go to ldcstrategies.com and you could get it right there, and that's a signed copy from me.
Okay, I've got it right here, honey. So I'm going to drop that in.
And then the details as well. If you want to do details, you want a signed copy, go to ldcstrategies.com. If you want an Amazon copy will be a little faster. Because I have to get to signing all of them. But the Amazon one isn't an autographed one, but it is a, it's great. They're both great. My details is up there. Tell them about the details while I bring this up, if you don't mind, Ellie.
Oh, it's so cute. So we've been playing around with the vitality oils, and I mentioned those during my class last week. And so Lorianne, and I think you collaborated with some of your family members, took all the classic cocktails and infuse them with the vitality oils. So she taught people how to make them with the vitality oils. And I just think that's such a cute idea. So I'm going to drop the link to that one as well.
Thank you.
And
that's my son's a sommelier, so that's where that came from.
That is so cool. And you said the details was an accident, right?
Details was totally an accident. The name of Details, it's Vitality Cocktails, and I had inadvertently deleted the rest of the word vitality and the first part of cocktails, and it
Yes.
ended up V-tails, and I was like, all right, apparently that's what it's supposed to be. So and
I think it's
happened a couple of
adorable.
times, so it was pretty funny. But let me start doing this with you. I would love to do this. I'm going to ask you to again grab an oil that's good for you. I love Believe with this one, but you could do just about any of them. Aware, abundance, gratitude, any oil. I would drop a drop in your hand. I don't know if everybody knows exactly how to do this. First, quick hack, if you will. If you take the label and you put it up, the oil comes out faster because they have a little air hole on the top, and it allows you to drop the oil faster. So if you're ever having a hard time getting oils out, that is a little trick I learned. The other thing is you want to put it in your non-dominant hand and activate it with your dominant hand and clockwise, because our DNA rotates clockwise, right? And then put it wherever you would like. My favorite is the back of the bottom of the top of my spine, bottom of my head is one of my favorite spots. My heart chakra, definitely. I always use the excess in my hair, and that's why it's getting so long, because it's a very happy.
And because you're taking your Ningxia.
And I'm taking my,
And
I
your
have my shot
collagen.
here, by the way. Got my Ningxia, my collagen, yeah. Always have it with me. All right, so up there you go, girl. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, again, plant your feet firmly on the ground. You can put your hands in your lap if you want. If you do, palms up, because that's in a receptive mode. And I'd like you to just close your eyes. And I'm going to put a little pretty music on. Now, here's the thing with this is every time in this music, it says, I am. I would like you to insert a word that you think you are. So I am beautiful. I am happy. I am generous, whatever that word is. If it's the same word, that's okay. What I'm going to do to help, because sometimes people get stuck, is I'm going to be saying some words over at the top of everyone, but you could say it to yourself. You could say it out loud, whatever you'd like. But every time they say the words I am, I want you to insert a word about yourself. This is all about you. So is that good? Everybody understand? Yes? Okay, good. Let me just. Okay. This is one of my favorite songs. So, all right, if you could close your eyes, take a deep breath. Exhale. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale. Okay. Adorable. Appreciative, authentic, funny. Genuine. Playful, perfect, thorough. Magnificent, smart, fun. Courageous, positive, uplifting. Playful, qualified, quick. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Joyful, interesting, reliable, resilient, extraordinary, witty, welcoming. Confident, passionate. Graceful, mischievous. One of a kind, spiritual, sweet. Blessed, bold, persevering. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Honest, patient, outstanding, successful. Dependable, loved, resourceful. Exceptional, adventurous. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lorianne.
That was
That's going to be part of my morning meditation now. Is that record? I'm going to just cue this up and listen to that, honey.
I love it.
That was a gift, as is hearing your beautiful voice. I forget you're a singer.
Oh my gosh, I forgot I was here.
No, I loved it. I loved it. Oh, someone's asking what that song is, honey. Could you share that?
It's I Am What I Am.
I am what I am.
I am what I am. Yes. Icona. Aykanna. It is the way I end all of my retreats.
I am.
So thank you guys all for staying on late and hanging with us and doing the imposter syndrome and showing up. You guys are rock stars.
This
Thank
was
you.
so great. If everyone just
So
wants to,
wonderful.
yeah, this was beautiful. It was credible. It was amazing. And like I said, we are so blessed to have Lorianne and everything that she brings. You remind me a lot of Jack, because anything, and Dr. Trish, Kathy, there's a lot of people on the team that are like this. They just are always wanting to improve themselves so that they can better serve other people. And you definitely have that quality about you. So thank you, honey.
Thank you, darling.
Fantastic. And then just a reminder, guys, I'm so proud of you. It's an honor to be with all of you guys. I know it's hard to make time on Saturday mornings or wherever you are, wherever Greta is, whatever time it is. So thank you for being here. Next week, I will be teaching again, and it's going to be really, really good, guys. It's going to build on what I taught last week about raising your energetic vibration. And it actually has a lot to do with what Lorianne spoke about today. And I don't think we realized we'd be presenting in a row, but I'm teaching kind of the basics of the law of attraction, but it's pretty robust, and it's kind of Ellie Meadows' crazy aggregation of all of the stuff that I've studied in the last few years. And if you saw the end of my presentation last Saturday, if you look at my vision board that I did in January of last year, it's a practical snapshot of my life, but that involved some crazy stuff, including meeting Jack Canfield, including moving and all this kind of stuff. So we're going to teach that next week. So 9 a.m. Pacific, thank you guys for being here, and invite other people. We would love to grow this group. And again, Kathy has offered some fun incentives. She's going to do some giveaways, so we'll be taking her up on that. And so if you are enjoying this abundance that this experience is bringing into your life, then please, please share that with the people you love. I know you all have people that love you because you're all amazing. So with that, thank you again to Lorianne and everyone who's here and all of the leadership team. We love you guys, and we will see you next week.
May 9th, reminder.
Oh yes, thank you, honey. May 9th, guys, Simi Valley. The gang is getting back together, Golden Motorcycle Gang. Guys, it's life-changing. So I don't know where I will be in the world living, but I will be there on May 9th. So I would love to see all of you guys there.
Stay tuned. We'll have the ticket link on jackcanfieldoilers.com very shortly, and it's very limited. So jump on. We'll drop you a text about when it's open for you to get tickets, so you guys could get first in.
Dibs. I honor the dibs. Okay.
Dibs.
Love you guys.
Bye guys. Thank you.
Lorianne.
Hi, thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. See you next
Bye,
week.
everyone.
You and all of your friends that you care about that you're going to invite. We'll see you next week.